Hey guys, what's up? My name is Eugene, and this is the first video for this channel. In this channel, I will share a lot of my personal opinions on different things. Most of them are very controversial. I've thought a lot about if I should do this or not because the potential hate I will get. My life could be threatened, people could be coming up to my place, harm me and my family. But in the end, I've decided to do it. Not because I have an insatiable thirst to share my personal opinions, but because I really don't want to go back to a job again. I hate working for somebody else. As long as there's somebody who tells me what to do with my life, with my time, tells me where I need to be at a certain time, at a certain place, then I will never be free. So despite of all the potential downsides that might come with sharing my personal opinions, I've still decided to do it. I hope I can make a big buck before I get cancelled. Wish me luck. So here's my problem with people who smokes. There are many times I just walk down a public street and there will be people smoking outdoors. I inevitably pass by them. I have to inhale in the secondhand smoke that they breathe out. It sucks that every time I walk by a guy who smokes, I have to hold my breath. It's super unfair to me because I didn't ask for it. I don't want my life to be shortened a few seconds because you are smoking. To be honest, smoking is your own right and privilege. You can do anything you want. You can harm yourself however the way you want. You can chop off your own goddamn fingers and I don't care. But please do not harm my health. I did not sign up for this. But anyway, I'm not changing anything. I'm just sharing my own personal opinion. It's funny to think that 100 years ago, marrying an underage girl was perfectly fine, but homosexual marriage was strictly forbidden. Nowadays, it's the other way around. Merely 100 years ago, races are not equal. Women are not allowed to vote. Well, what can we learn from this? The human beings keeps evolving. People from the last century thinks that they are already highly civilized. The physicians even think they've finished the majority of physics until the advent of theory of relativity. And I am sure that 100 years later, the people then will look down on our current situation just like we looked down people from 100 years ago. So I have this hypothesis that I observed from my personal experience. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please let me know if you know any research or study done on this subject. Some good-looking people are mean and unfriendly towards others because they know they can get away with it because they have beauty. Whereas ugly people sometimes go out of their way to please people because they have to compensate for their ugliness. After all, we are all human beings that need to survive in the society. How beautiful we are changes our behavior. I absolutely hate those loud cars or motorcycles that just zoom across the street. Listen, making those loud noises doesn't make you manly or cool at all. You modify your car so they can make super loud noises. What you actually did is wakes up old people and scares the little children. Why would you do that? It harasses people. This is why large areas of tattoo is one of my biggest personal turnoffs. From my personal experience of watching porn, I noticed a lot of porn actresses have a lot of tattoos. And from the science perspective, they looked up some study and the research done on this topic of correlation between tattoos and mental health. So yeah, I was right. Women with tattoos are more promiscuous. People with tattoo are more likely to be alcoholic, nicotine addictive, drug addictive, socially ranked lower, and poor in wealth. And there are some other things, like people who have a lot of tattoos are mentally damaged, and tattoo is a way of them trying to cover up their body. Of course, there are exceptions, and I could be wrong, but I think this is something worth informing you about. And guys, please don't take it as if I'm hating on people with tattoos. I have close friends that have tattoos, and I've dated girls that have tattoos. I respect tattooed people equally. I'm only speaking this on the behalf of scientific perspective on the correlation between tattoos and promiscuity. That's all. Nothing personal. I have seen more naked women than all my ancestors combined. If you think about it, it's crazy. For thousands of years of past non-human history, I'm the first one. My dad is in China, so he doesn't watch porn, but I'm the first generation. I've watched so much porn. It's crazy to think about. Hello guys, here's your daily dose of knowledge. Professional tennis is a winner's game, in which the match goes to the player who's able to hit the most winners, fast-paced, well-placed shots that an opponent couldn't return. But the tennis for the rest of us is a loser's game, with the match going to the player who hits the fewest losers. The winner just keeps the ball in play until the loser hits it into the net or off the court. In other words, in amateur tennis, points aren't won, they are lost. Capitalism. Personally, I 100% believe in the capitalism because it is the best system that we have yet found so far throughout the history. Nothing else beats it. Everyone is in their best case scenario through capitalism. Some might argue, look at the current state of our country, look at the world. In all the horrible things, the result of capitalism? Well, I would argue that we do not have pure capitalism now. What we have now in the United States is something called crony capitalism. It's corruption, it's redundancy of the bureaucracy. Abortions. Personally, I'm quite neutral about this thing. I believe you should make each state form their own rules. Some might allow it, some might not, some might lay somewhere in the middle. Depends on how many months they're pregnant. Just let them decide for themselves. And let people vote with their residency. People will choose where they want to live according to the rules and the law. My problem comes up when you try to force your own belief, your own opinion upon others. Passport, bro. Trust me, bro. If you're a single male in the United States, my best dating advice for you is to get out of the country. Leave. Go to Southeast Asia. Go to South America. Go to Eastern Europe. These are the countries where you will find more feminine and desirable women. Don't worry about your flirting skills or your stats or your wealth. These things are nowhere as important as your situation. If you want to be successful in dating, first step, get yourself in the right scenario. Efficiency. If my life philosophy can be summarized down to only one word, that'll be efficiency. In terms of, I want to get the most out of my short existence on this planet. Whenever I try to achieve whatever task, if I can use lesser resource, lesser time, lesser money, lesser mental energy, I would always go for the optimal route. Conservative. On the political spectrum, I find myself more aligned with the Conservative Party. However, one important difference is that I do not believe in any religion. Personally, I'm an atheist. Also, I'm very neutral about abortions and gun control. Gun control in USA. Personally, I'm very neutral about this thing. I believe you should just let each state decide for their own whether they want to allow it or not, what kind of rules, what kind of laws they want to enforce. Then let people vote with their residency, let people choose with their dollar in their bank account. And naturally, after some time, we will find out which is the best place to live in according to the rules. Gun control dilemma that I have noticed. On one hand, the federal government is responsible for protecting its citizens. On the other hand, the constitutionally protected guns are capable of mass murdering. So, unless we invent some advanced technology to differentiate who has the potential to cause harm, this dilemma will remain unresolvable. Freedom of speech. Throughout history, freedom of speech has always been a privilege rather than a given right. It is something we fought so hard for. If we look into history from the Chinese dynasties to Rome to Greek to European royalties, saying the wrong words will directly result in you being beheaded. In our current 21st century compared to history, we have never had so much freedom of speech. So you can take it as a good sign that we are actually advancing. I have traveled to more than 50 countries and I learned that the most beautiful scenes are still not comparable to beautiful girls. Meaningful interhuman relationships is the key determinant factor to one's happiness. This can be backed up by a Harvard study that concluded that the single biggest determinant factor of happiness is your personal relationships with others. The reason why I'm making these kind of personal opinion videos is not because I want to educate anyone. That's futile effort. We have this saying in Chinese, 孺子不可教也. Basically, it's saying you only educate the educatable. Neither I expect to make money from doing this. My goal is to find like-minded critical thinkers because it's rather difficult to find someone who thinks like I do in daily lives. Go big, because at the end of the day, we all go home. Due to cancel culture and personal risk, I am only voicing half of my opinions out here. I have reserved the more controversial ones. So if you think this is extreme, if you're interested in learning more about the forbidden content, consider becoming a Patreon and join my inner circle. Here is a phenomenal video game pricing model. You charge $1,000 upfront for the game. But if you beat the final boss, you get all your money back, or even some extra if you really want to give them an incentive. Although it might be classified as a Ponzi scheme, but again, everything is a Ponzi. The retirement plan in both USA and China are essentially Ponzi schemes. It isn't an investment. It's the same. The new money pays the old ones in order to keep going. iShowSpeed. So I was looking into iShowSpeed videos, and I think his biggest success contributor is his exaggerated reactions. People love watching other people react to something. Partially is due to they don't want to feel alone. They want to feel the same way their peers feel, so they can fit in and don't feel left out. And partially is because they need leader guys to do the thinking for them. Grant Cardone is just not believable. It's not hard to spot the inconsistency in his sentences. He would contradict himself multiple times within 10 minutes. But I don't see anything wrong with it as long as he obeyed the law. In fact, I need to give him my kudos. He convinced so many people into believing him. That's a success in and of itself.
Vegan. For all the vegan people who are adamantly forcing others to also be vegan, not only you're being annoying, but also you're being ineffective. Hear me out. I recommend you just go study biology and food science, then invent the artificial meat that tastes better and priced cheaper than the real meat. Then boom, problem solved. Oh, you are not smart enough? Then you can at least donate your money to related researchers. Be a doer, not a talker. Have you ever wondered why in military they forced you to do stupid things such as standing straight, turn left, turn right, given such acts provide zero utility in actual warfare combats? In fact, it's specifically designed like this to train you to obey the orders without ever questioning it. The pure obedience is actually an important factor in successfully leading a military group. I realized this when I was in middle school. That's why I didn't apply for the West Point military school. Cancel culture has been a societal tumor that needs instant remedy. I think we are awaiting one pivotal event, one hallmark event that'll change everything. People will be just so fed up and just leave the centralized media and hop onto the decentralized ones. But until then, we will just have to put up with the current mainstream media given its momentum. Small dick. Let's just say in hypothetical scenario, wink wink, by some unfortunate event, I flash the entire world, and the entire world knows that I have a small dick. You know how I would react? I would be ecstatic, because I will be set for life. My family, in fact, my son and my grandson too, they would not need to work a single day in their life. The first thing I would do is monetize the attention. I would partner up with Viagra brands or some penis enlargement pills company. Then the second step is the underwear and the vitamin supplements companies. At least $10 million in a year is not an exaggeration. So... News. Until this year, I never watched any news because in our current era, we have an oversupply of information. 95% of the news will be irrelevant the second day. Majority of them turn out to be transient and inconsequential. And frankly, I never missed out anything important because my friends and the people around me serve as an info filter. If it's really important, they would have informed me. Besides, I wasn't equipped with enough knowledge to act on it and profit off it. However, now I feel older and wiser, capable of doing so. Thus the change. Adolf Hitler. Do you know why we call Hitler the bad guy but Winston Churchill the good guy? Although both of them have killed millions of people, because the history is written by the winners. Always keep that in mind. Andrew Tate, my opinion of him. First of all, you need to know that he has a habit of over-exaggerating things, and he's an extremely arrogant person. However, the majority of his messages are actually legit. Exceptions are, for example, his claims that drinking sparkling water is superior than drinking still water. That one is just stupidity. But his advice and tips on attracting females, right, spot on, 100% correct. His observance of the female nature 100% coincides with mine. Kylie Jenner's lipsticks marketing feels like a scam to me. Here's why. She did lip filler and plastic surgery on her lips and then used her operated lips as marketing pictures to convince you that if you use her lipsticks, then yours will be the same. I think you'd better save your money for the lip filler. And lastly, I don't find those big lips attractive. Every time I see those big sausage lips, I'm repulsed. It's impossible for everyone to hate you. I knew the videos I made would call hate towards me, as you can see in the conservative, the Hitler, and the gun control videos that I made. Although I was extremely neutral about it, but still, half of the people disliked the video. But the good thing is, I'm not too bothered by it, because in this world, it's impossible for everyone to hate you. it's also impossible for everyone to like you. At the end of the day, we are diverse. You could be a devil and there will still be people worshiping you. And that's a great thing. Martin Shkreli, aka Pharma Bro, is an extremely smart guy. His critical thinking ability and deduction aptness is envying. However, if I was him, I wouldn't have talked out so loud and have myself landed in prison because for me, my time is above everything. I would rather quiet out, let you win the argument than losing 7 years of my precious life. Lastly, I believe he did nothing wrong with the drug. Hitler and Churchill. My previous video on this topic has gone quite controversial. Many people misconstrued as if I was praising Hitler. No, if I could sacrifice myself to bring back the millions of Jews that were viciously murdered, I would do it with zero hesitation. Lives above everything. However, 2 takeaways I want to bring to your attention. All countries, all wars of all time, the lost party were erased from history. They never had a say. And the winning party will do everything they can to portray themselves as the good guys and to make sure to distill the thoughts into all the textbooks or movies or music, whatever media you consume. Whenever everyone must agree on something, if you don't, people come attack you, that's when I smell propaganda and indoctrination, especially given that currently all the media are owned by Jews. A las chicas asiáticas les gusta los chicos hispanos. Para mis hermanos hispanos, tengo malas noticias. Para chicas chinas, japonesas o coreanas, a menos que seas española, europea, entonces los típicos chicos latinos de Sudamérica no están en su radar de tiras. Pero eso no sirve como excusa válida. Aún así deberías intentarlo. Latinas. ¿A los chicos asiáticos les gustan las chicas latinas? Sí, nos encantan tus ojos de doble párpado, tus ojos grandes y tu cabello grueso. Pero personalmente yo prefiero delgadas, jóvenes y el tono de piel rico. Child labor. I'm actually all for child labor. I wish I could skip the school and start making money as a teenager, given that school didn't teach me anything useful. In a free market economy, as long as both sides are voluntarily making a trade, then it is beneficial to both parties. The reason why child labor didn't work in the past is because the government failed to enforce a fair contract between the both parties. The child employees' work was not being supervised. Their promises weren't fulfilled. They were exploited. OnlyFans girls. If you ask me, am I jealous of them? Hell yeah. I mean, just posting your feet pictures and market yourself by filming lewd TikTok videos. But with the advent of the AI technology, it will soon become guys creating AI girls to make money off other guys. OnlyFans. Currently, it is still a social stigma, but it will soon be annihilated. It is only shameful when few people are doing it, but when everyone is doing it, then it will become a social norm. In the future, only more and more girls will start selling their nudes online. If you don't believe me, just look at the history. Merely 100 years ago, marrying a 14-year-old girl was fine. Gay marriage was sinful. Women were not allowed to vote. Now it's all the opposite. AI me in the future. Currently, when I make these videos, I still have to record, I still have to edit the video and the audio, cut out the stuttering, add subtitles. However, in the future, all I need to do is just voice input the words and the AI will generate the entire video with audio that sounded exactly like my voice and the video with perfect lip syncing. But this also means that the content genre will be extremely competitive because the threshold to create would have gotten so low. Cancel culture. We're living in a time that intelligent people are getting silenced so that the stupid people won't get offended. For example, healthcare professionals were silenced during the COVID. Had they dared to oppose the lockdown, they would have been banned. As far as I know, the Constitution didn't give you a right to not be offended. However, it did give the right to freedom of speech. Elon Musk says he supports freedom of speech. However, when it comes to Alex Jones, he said he won't let him back onto the platform because Jones lied about the school shooting case. That's hypocritical, because who are you to judge? Doesn't it come down to silencing your opposing view again? He who fought too long against the dragon becomes a dragon himself. Mi comida mexicana favorita son las carnitas con la mezcla de carne de cerdo, piel, tendón, grasa, huesos blancos. Así que si alguna de ustedes latinas mamis quiere conquistarme, ya tienes la guía. Don't force me. I actually don't mind the gay marriages, as long as you don't force me. I also don't mind the vegan or the vegetarian people, as long as you don't force me. I also don't mind changing your gender as an adult, as long as you don't force me. By forcing, I signify force me to accept your belief, or force me to praise you, or force me to say certain things, or force me to pay for your goals using my tax dollars. Hope my point is clear. You don't force me. Andrew Tate just talked with Elon Musk via Twitter Live. I felt as if the two worlds collided. Also, I know Vivek Ramaswamy, Patrick Bet-David, all male figures I look up to. Crazy nowadays, we're able to eavesdrop on the smartest and richest guys. Such things were unimaginable merely 50 years ago. These people will be the legends you only hear about, never get to see even once in your entire life. But nowadays, we listen to their podcasts as if we're sitting in the same room. So it's safe to say, the information and the technology has greatly gotten democratized. Video game feminists. About 5 years ago, a YouTuber made a video of him assaulting a feminist inside a video game. Yet YouTube banned him, citing he violated the community guidelines. I believe this is very unfair. In a video game, he played the Red Redemption 2. He killed hundreds of men, and no one would bat an eye. But if he punches a feminist, then boom, banned. This serves as a prime example why YouTube won't be here forever. I know this is crazy to think about, given how big YouTube is now, but if you look back into history, big giants fall down all the time. Kodak, Nokia, Yahoo, BlackBerry are all prime examples. I believe in the future, the biggest video streaming platform will be decentralized. 糟粕 is a Chinese word that means the inherent bad things that comes with it, usually in the form of restrictive, outdated rules. For example, do you know that in Japan, in order to learn sushi, you need to spend the first year cleaning the floor, then years learning how to cook the rice, climbing all this ladder, until decades later, you finally get to touch the knife and the fish. It's a great example of 糟粕. It's essentially gatekeeping behavior to stop you from progressing too fast, because they don't have much to teach in the first place, and they are afraid if they teach you everything in the beginning, you would have just learned it, and they could no longer benefit off you. Another example that I have experienced is a sword fight lesson. I remember the first lesson, the teacher would strictly forbid us to sword fight with each other, even with the full head helmets. Guess what he asked us to do? We used a stick to hit each other in the hand, standing still, counting 1, 2, 3. Because his interest is to have us come back for as many classes as possible in order to make more money. Had he just let us play the first time, we would have soon gotten bored and lost interest. The key takeaway of this is when things seem illogical, look into economic interest. World population. Elon Musk claims that the world population is far from maximum capacity and we need to have more children. I did a little bit of research into this topic and he's absolutely right. The method of how I do my research is I type my question into YouTube and Google, open the first 5 to 10 links, and then use them to cross-reference each other, then ultimately form my own opinion with all the given data and evidence. I remember many years ago, I met this tall, handsome Caucasian male with an Asian wife. He told me that he will never have any kids. I was quite surprised and I asked him why, and he said, the world doesn't need more people. I remember at that time I said, what a waste of your high-grade genes, and we just laughed it off. False accusations. This issue has gotten so bad to the level that it's societally prevalent. I had been in a situation that after rejecting a girl of a relationship she wanted, she accused me of rape. I am a believer that if you falsely accuse someone of certain crimes, you deserve the same amount of duration and harshness of the crime you accused him of. One of the big problems with our current society is that we're not holding these false accusers responsible for their crimes. Some entrepreneurs out there should create a shaming list that collects all the false rape/violence accusers. This might have concerns with the privacy laws, but as males, desperately need such things to protect ourselves. Elon Musk just cursed multiple times in an interview. It seems like in modern days, you need FU money in order to be able to say whatever you want. Otherwise, you will have no freedom of speech. The canceling mob will come for your ass and often successfully get you. 5 goals that I set for myself to reach by the age of 30. Make $1 million, visit 100 countries, sleep with 100 girls, gain 100k followers, trilingual. Noah Kagan. So I've been binging Noah Kagan's podcasts and videos, and I got 2 biggest takeaways. Spend money where you spend your time, be it a hobby, your working station, the bed sleeping, a daily task which you have to do. TST. Test shit out. Test things before buying them. If you want to buy a Ferrari, rent one to drive a few days before deciding to buy one. If you want a big mansion, rent one from Airbnb for a few weeks before you decide buying one. And this tip will save you millions of dollars and jars of tears. Israel-Palestine issue. I have an unusual take. I personally do not know historically to whom the land belongs to, who killed more of whom, and I don't care. All I know that is the land will be claimed by the party with bigger fists. Not whom with a higher moral ground, not whom had more victims, not whom with more virtues. History has repeatedly taught us one cruel lesson. 落后就要挨打. If you lag behind, then you will be beaten up. Suicide, that's a depressing yet inevitable topic. When I was young, I never understood why people would take their own lives. Not at all. Life was amazing, full of games and adventures. However, when I grew older and go through life, I gradually start to understand why people commit suicide, because life could get tough sometimes. If one just takes his life, it is a permanent solution to all temporary problems, just to end it once and for all. No more pain and no more suffering. I remember when I was at a dark time of my life and I saw someone kill himself from the internet. I felt happy for him. I was even jealous. He doesn't have to suffer anymore, but I couldn't do it because it's just too selfish. You're leaving all the people around you to suffer the pain for you. Not good.
Would you choose to be in touch with reality and be miserable, or be deliriously happy, lost in an illusion?
Which would be worse? To live as a monster or to die as a good man?
Ignorance is bliss, but personally, me, I'd rather be slapped with the truth than kissed by a lie. How to make better decisions in your life. After you have gotten all the information related to the decision at hand that you can get, take a break. Do something unrelated to your decision. Take a nap, watch Netflix, do some sports, take a shower. Give your subconscious mind a chance to toss things around. Then come back to your decision. You will be so much more instinctual. Get all the facts, then go with your gut. Adam 22, The Island Boys, Jack Doherty. The over-sensationalization of all the content online has been a prevalent issue that people often criticized about. But you cannot condemn the degeneracy while consuming it. You are the very audience these content are created for. Doesn't matter if you are a viewer or commentator or a critic. As long as you are watching and give it your attention, then you are a fan. I'm all up for euthanasia. When I was young, I didn't understand why people kill themselves, but now I'm older. I start to empathize. I think it should be a given right. Anybody should be allowed to end their own lives. Life is tough for someone. Forcing your belief of must live on up onto others is rather a cruelty than kindness. We didn't have a choice when we come into this world, but we do have a choice to finish it if we want to. Political correctness. Nowadays, even if you draw attention to our differences, you are considered a racist or sexist. Rather than acknowledge our differences and embrace them, we try to pretend they don't exist, which makes things worse. For example, there are differences between men and women. Babies are born in women, and through evolution, women's nature is more emotional and nurturing. Men are physically stronger and tend to be more aggressive. Those are not sexist. That's just stating a straight-up biology fact. Looks maxing and mog are stupid. It doesn't work at all. The jawline and the eyebrow bones are genetic things. For science sake, educate yourself. All these influencers are riding the wave, capturing the attention of these young adolescent boys by lying to them. Oh, take my supplement. Oh, follow my routine. I'm here telling you straight up, it's pseudoscience. How stupid, young, naive, and uneducated can you be to fantasize changing your facial structure? It's genetically predetermined. Unless you're losing weight from obesity, then your facial structure won't change simply by mewing. Elon Musk said only physics is the rule. Everything else is a recommendation. Oh my science, I love this guy. If I need to die for him, I will do it. Even if nobody will ever know. For the sake of civilization and the human future, I will do it. At the end of the day, the rocket needs to fly based on physics, not your feelings. I'm not jealous of those mega rich but miserable guys. I'm jealous of those who have reached a peace of mind. Doesn't matter if you're financially free, a monk, or simply living below your means. Inner peace is the key to happiness. Why do influencers make so much money? Because traditionally, we have an undersupply of goods. If you're able to manufacture it, then there will be people buying it. But with the maturing of the industrialism, we now have an oversupply of goods. Therefore, the ability to sell it becomes more important than be able to manufacture it. Influencers are good at commanding attentions, therefore be able to sell the goods, hence become rich. How many genders are there? Homo sapiens are gonochoric species, meaning we are divided into male and female sexes. Period. The feminists have always gone into video games and accusing producers of objectifying women, misogyny, etc. Oh, this outfit is too revealing. Oh, her boobs are too big, that it's unrealistic. See, I'm not surprised that the feminists are discontent. However, I do feel disheartened that the big gaming companies succumbed to the feminists' demands and actually changed it. That's shameful of you. You should have been a man and stand up straight and uphold your values. Do not give up your belief or your own identity and surrender to them feminists. cats could be evil. In the United States alone, the cats kill billions of birds a year, which drives dozens of bird species extinct. Birds like these pollinate plants and distribute seeds. They are an essential part of the ecosystem. So, albeit being the most popular pet to own, please keep your domestic cats home. Don't let them go out. People always misconstrue me for being an extrovert due to the confident presence that I carry around others. But actually, that's not the case, because from my experience, I noticed that 2 hours of social time each day is the maximum I can handle. Any more chatting and conversations beyond that just start to get unpleasant. By then, I just want to be left alone and study something on my own. It's a stereotype that Asians eat dog meat. Personally, I've only ate dog meat once in my entire life. It tastes like chicken if you're curious. In fact, the majority of the Chinese do not eat dog meat. However, with that being said, you do not have a right to stop them from eating dog meat. And in fact, you are not morally superior to them either. Human species evolved to this day thanks to eating animals. Why we always come up with good ideas during shower? 1. Showering is a very pleasant state to be in, which induces our brain to secrete dopamine and allow us to go into a calm, relaxing mode. 2. Showering is a habitual behavior that we are very used to. We can shower without intentionally think about it, and when we do such repetitive and non-mind occupying things, our brain will fire up with interesting ideas. This effect has happened to me when I wash the dishes or play the piano. It's okay to not have an opinion. Nowadays, the internet has gotten us more and more divided. I want to give a tip on saving your mental energy and living a better life. That's it's okay to not have an opinion. Just live your own life. Your stance on most things won't make a change. You need to focus on the few most important things in life so you can actually make a difference. Vivek Ramaswamy suggested that only selected people can vote. Great move in my opinion, given that most people are essentially uneducated. They have zero understanding of the constitution, zero knowledge of geopolitics. They only know about me, without understanding the basic principles of economics, supply and demand. They don't know that every benefit they ask for, there comes a cost. Yes, I'm looking at you left liberal delusionists. Freedom of speech dilemma. Do you know that hate speech is also a form of freedom of speech and should be protected at all costs? One can say that he is a white supremacist and supports Hitler, and you should let him talk. I may not agree with your belief or opinion, but I will defend to death your rights to do so, because by protecting your freedom of speech, I am protecting my own. If I don't make a noise when people are taking away your freedom of speech, then when people come take mine, no one would voice for me. So I was watching this TV show of ancient Chinese wars. So when one army takes over a city, they can do anything. They take away their jewelries, possess their properties, rape their women. And as a man, I suddenly felt the blood within me got woken. Thousands of my generations went through trillions of pain and hurt in order to have a lineage. For me to sit here and talk. My ancestors didn't survive by being pussies, and I was not bred to be a loser. I was very ambitious back then because I thought I'm the main character. I'm the knight in shining armor. And now I found out that I'm not the main character. Not even the side character. Heck, I'm not even the villain. Not even the goblin. I'm that piece of grass in the background. My only job is just shaking forth and back. Nobody cares if you're tired, and nobody even cares if you're green or not. I don't drink coffee or tea or any other caffeinated drinks because caffeine is an addictive substance. I know many people who cannot function properly without their morning coffee. Besides, you are overdrafting your future's energy in order to make up present's lethargicness. Given the conservation of energy, it's not worth it. YouTube algorithm sucks. I've used this website for over 10 years, fed hundreds of thousands of hours of watch time into it. But still, to this day, the video you recommended me is terrible. The same video will be recommended to me over and over again until I have to manually click not interested. Hey YouTube, if I don't click it after being shown for so many times, you should know better that I am not interested. And trust me, I have tried to train the algorithm. Clicking dislikes, not interested, don't recommend me this channel. But now I just give up. The vertical short videos are here anyway. Whenever you see people teaching you how to make money online, you should immediately be suspicious. Because in capitalism, the only way to make above average return is by having an information or channel advantage. If I have certain knowledge in a specific field that is very profitable, I will keep my mouth shut so that I can make as much money as possible until all the dividends and yields are pretty much exhausted. That's when I will start to teach others. Or you can think about it from another perspective. There is no doubt that these influencers want to make money. Why would they spend time and energy making videos to teach you rather than just keep making money from their already
already profitable business? The answer is obvious, because they make more money by teaching you than actually doing it. If that's the case, shouldn't you teach as well, instead of doing the actual labor in said business? Freedom of speech is in jeopardy. Any existing social platform, YouTube, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, not one of them, you can speak your mind freely. I desperately need a platform where I can voice my opinions anonymously, say whatever controversial things I want, without being cancelled by the social justice warrior mobs. They are the definition of bullies. Here's a bold prediction. In the future, more and more men will be childless, because women will continue to have higher and higher standards, thus be more and more unsatisfied because they only seek after the top 1% of males. I read a study that says now a third of males in their 20s are not having sex. Well, this number is only going to grow higher. Sounds like a lose-lose scenario for both genders. Well, bringing back traditional marriage will solve this, but our current government laws screwed this up completely. Well, with every regulation, there comes a consequence. I encourage more and more women to jump onto OnlyFans. The OnlyFans are one of the easiest and most profitable ways to make money if you are a girl. From the society perspective, it's so much better to have them paying taxes instead of supporting them with other taxpayers' money. I applaud them for making a living on their own. Social morals? Who cares? That stuff changes every few years. In 10 years, you won't be able to make a profit even if you want to sell nudes online due to AI-generated pornography stars coming into competition. When I make a statement, I chose my words carefully and use them accurately. I would say there's a 99% chance of something happening, or I'm 95% confident in so-and-so. However, in terms of religion, I'm 100% sure that all religions are man-made fictions. Before public speeches, it's common for people to feel nervous, having their heart rates go up, getting tense, getting sweaty, because you have expectations of what's coming. Instead, you can consider it as excitement. Tell yourself that it's not nervousness, but excitement, which is something that gives the same symptoms. Suddenly, everything changes. It makes you want to rush forwards rather than falling back. That's just a small trick that shows mentality changes everything. People hate capitalism, not because they despise the system, but because they are not the direct beneficiary from it. But actually, that statement in and of itself is wrong, because everyone is being benefited directly from capitalism. From the iPhone in your hands to the Starbucks you drink, every single thing you have today is the product of capitalism. Although I do agree capitalism has made huge difference in terms of status, but that's the result of meritocracy. Your absolute living standards still tremendously increased thanks to capitalism. Of course, corruptions and crony capitalism are exceptions. Criticizing historical figures for lack of awareness of a morality that was yet to emerge was absurd. Morality is something that's always changing. Social standards change every decade. Societal norm is something that's constantly developing and evolving. It's a gradual journey that got us to where we are today. People nowadays torn down the statues of predecessors for them used to own slaves. That's stupid. Criticizing historical figures by today's moral standards is like criticizing 70s computers for being slow. We need to appreciate the past for being an inevitable part of the process. Do you believe in love? No. To me, love is merely the chemicals we secrete in our brain to help us pair bond and procreate. However, acknowledging this fact doesn't prevent me from enjoying it. Romain Rolland said, "There is only one heroism in the world, to see the world as it is and to love it." Mark Robber has very popular videos of him catching car robbers. Why don't we do more about these crimes? These delusional Democrats refuse to punish those criminals. They chose to punish the innocent civilians instead by not protecting their personal properties. Such behaviors are no worse than communists that robs people of their belongings. The citizens are even forbidden to societally shame them because a large ratio of the robbers are African Americans. I have a strong sense of justice in my heart. I want to see good people get rewarded and bad people get punished. Yet, the reality does not conform to my wishes. Why I would never get a tattoo. Apart from the standard societal norm that tattoos are associated with illegal activities doing criminals, another reason is you will become addicted to getting more and more of it. I experienced myself through a similar scenario, so I used to put the stickers on my laptop. What will turn out is that you will intentionally seek out more and more stickers to put on your laptop until you fill up every single surface inside and out. Or another example is if you put posters on the wall of your room, you will then use a lot of your attention into finding more posters. Given the amount of time, energy, and money to design the tattoos, it's a terrible negative yield activity to do. That's why I will never touch it, not even a small one. There are predators online, right? What if we propose a law that forbids girls below 18 to post pictures of themselves online, in the name of protecting them? We all know women are sexualized and objectified by straight males. So why don't we forbid everything? No tight dresses, no skirt, no skin, no feet, no nothing. Dress like a Muslim woman, basically. Oh, that's violating basic human rights? You are entitled to do whatever you want, regardless of the consequences? Then, the same should work for guns. Torturing. I believe in harsh laws. If you steal or embezzle, you get your hand chopped off kind. If that's too extreme, at least Singapore caning. I believe in absolute personal property ownership. If it's yours, it's yours. Negation of such principle will demotivate people to work hard to own anything. Therefore, demotivates manufacturers to create anything. Any item and gadget, nobody shall take it away from you. Then we can have a prosperous zero-crime society in which everyone is better off. If you are one of those robbers in San Francisco, 20 whips, I need to see flesh open and blood everywhere. You might argue, with such high stakes, then corruption might occur. Good point. That's why we need to be extra harsh on the law enforcers. If they corrupt or receive the bribery, then that person and all his immediate families will receive harsh punishments together and shall never be worked again in the government bureau. Survey shows that most of the teenagers want to be a YouTuber or influencer. If you read history, you would know that whenever everybody's flocking to a certain industry, that's when you do not go in blindly with them, because the competition is too fierce. You should get in when nobody believes in it. However, what do you need to do now? You ask me. Sell them the picks and shovels. This was true hundreds of years ago when they're digging for gold. This will also be true hundreds of years from now, when we all migrate to Mars. Now it's your job to think hard and plan well. What are you going to sell to those influencers? Sell them what they want, of course. They want fame, they want followers, so sell them the toolkit that can help them to make trendy viral videos. Sell them the secret, sell them the formula, sell them the recipe, sell them the course. Equal opportunity does not equal to equal outcome. We should provide equal employment opportunities for both male and females, but we should never guarantee equal pay, because that violates the basic principle of more work and more reward. We should provide an equal testing standard for everyone to get into Harvard, but we should never guarantee a certain percentage of certain ethnicity. I hope smart people like you should be able to infer what I meant. Men make more money than women because men work longer, harder, and more dangerous jobs. Asians are severely discriminated against during college entrance examinations due to colleges need to provide special treatment to African Americans. That's just unfair. So I recently learned that Mike Tyson was imprisoned at one point in his life. I always thought he only stayed there for a year or so, but he was actually jailed for 3 full years. So I googled what was the reason, and it was said that he raped some beauty pageant girl. You know what's my first instinct? That it's a false allegation, and he was set up. That's really my first instinct, due to the rampant lies, false accusations, and injustice in the court system for males. Because our current modern justice system does not punish the false accusers hard enough, and they usually get away with 0 consequences. Such laws and special treatments give women an incentive to lie to get what they want. What should have been the law to protect women now became women's weapon to gain self-interests at the men's expense. No matter how good person you are evil in someone's story. Even if you try to be the best you can be in life, there will be people who don't like you for whatever reason. Not everyone will like you, and I've learned that that's okay. You can't please everyone. Terrorists don't see themselves as bad guys. To them, we are the bad guys, killing their families and ruining their country. Every individual is the hero of their own story. If you see a guy punching a vending machine, you'd think, what a butthole with anger issue problems. And yet if it was you who kicked the vending machine, it's because the machine just ate your change. Perfectly reasonable response you have. The same applied to all world's perceived enemies. Republicans, Democrats, terrorists, criminals, me, you. People we view as absolutely evil see themselves as heroes and the good guys. All great men are bad men. All historical good leaders are bad in some way, which also means all historical bad leaders are good in some way. Oh, I'm busy. Most of us feel there's just not enough hours in the day. We are constantly rushing and struggling to keep our heads above the water. People who are always busy may appear to accomplish a lot, but maybe they are not actually being productive. The fact of the matter is, busy does not equal productive. Just because someone is constantly performing tasks does not mean they are moving closer to any of their major goals. If you are busy, apart from the fact that you are really important, the more likely reasons are you are weak. You don't know which are the important things that will actually make a difference in your life. You are pretending to be busy so that you seem to be working hard, but in reality, you are just using physical diligence to make up for your mental laziness. Stop caring and start living. Go to a graveyard today, look around, and think about how much you don't give a crap about anybody there. 99.99% of all the people you interact with don't care either. So why are you living in the prison of other people's opinion? Why are you living the life you hate instead of the life you want to live? When is it going to be enough? When you say enough is enough and I'm done and I want to make my life something worth living. Schopenhauer said, a person's enthusiasm for interacting with others is directly proportional to his mediocrity of intelligence. The Spanish philosopher Gasset also said that the mob does not care about their own value as an independent individual in a certain field. They like to judge their own value by whether they are the same as others. So if you are not popular, don't be too introspective. You don't live to meet other people's expectations. There are countless joys in life, because however big a person can see the world, he himself is just as big. Your brain's like a computer. It constantly needs something to do. Problems don't stop, they adjust. Your energy is limited, it is never enough, and it can only be spent on the most important things. The older I grow, the more I understand a song with the title of Life is a Struggle. Or as the game title EverQuest goes, there will always be things to deal with and endless goals to accomplish. This observation of mine also coincides with the hedonic adaptation philosophy. Over time, we get used to said changes in our life. Our expectations and lifestyle adjusts accordingly. At the end of the day, we are adapting animals. Why you shouldn't tell other people your goals? Because you are self-deceiving and trying to derive the pleasure of accomplishment without exerting any hard work to actually doing it. You see, your brain does a poor job differentiating between imagination and reality. After you tell the others about your ambitious goal, your brain starts to secrete a dopamine and start rewarding you. You are using results that may not necessarily occur in the future to enhance your current sense of existence and false fulfillment. So, always keep your goals in mind. This will serve as an impetus for you to grind. Don't be overly optimistic or blindly pessimistic. Instead, you should imagine the specific difficulties you may encounter in the process of completing your goals. So, don't tell others you have a goal until you've accomplished it. Democrats are ruining this country. I've always been very apolitical and tried to stay out of the politicians' bickering. But nowadays, with citizen journalism from Twitter, I grew more repulsed by the Democrats by the day. They encourage crimes by removing law punishments. They accept illegal immigrants to gain self-interest at the expense of the whole society. They blatantly discriminate white people by claiming racial reparation. They purposely destroy families by incentivizing women to be independent. All I'm saying is, given the insane havoc done by Democrats, I start to empathize why the Third Reich was rosen. Good times create soft men, and soft men create hard times. Here are my goals by the age 30. Visit 100 countries, make $1 million, sleep with 100 girls, gain 100k social media followers, become trilingual in the 3 most spoken languages in the world. Also, this video is the 100th in my critical thinking series. Yeah. Also, you might have noticed, all episodes since the 77th are all AI generated, haha. However, I will take a break from making these videos for now, because not enough people watch them. I need to do other activities with higher monetary compensation, but I will continue to think for myself, hence a critical 101. Peace.